So your angels and ancestors want you to know today. Okay, so where I'm being taken first is that God made you. Okay, don't ever forget this. Maybe I'm being brought to here. It's okay to wobble, and I wasn't surprised to see that card, because after yesterday I do feel like I could be tapping into energy that may be having a bit of a wobble, which is human and normal, and it's more than likely because you freed yourself, okay, from something, someone, situation, put it where it fits. There's a few things, suggestions, you don't have to take them, but they're here, and Spirit brought them here for you to refuse or to take on board. I do think you were around energies that were using sort of some mental mind control, and when I say that, I mean obviously take it where it fits, hopefully not in that sort of severe mechanical way, but I think people that were taking you for granted and knew your weak spots, you know, I'm feeling like you're very kind and they could see, and they were playing around with that. But of course this is a general reading, so it doesn't have to be that. But when I first pulled this card, I did actually feel like Spirit was saying give hypnosis a try, you know, on YouTube or whatever. It might help you out of this wobble, or you know, not so much you have to come out of it to make you feel better, and you know everything moves, nothing's static, so you'd always come out of a wobble anyway. You don't, you know, you don't need hypnosis, but it can be a helpful tool to think about. Spirit sending you signs and angel numbers and things. That's Archangel Michael. Do sort of acknowledge them. I think maybe if you are in this wobble and your energy is slightly, I don't know if it's lower, but slightly sideways at the moment, maybe, you know, you're just letting them pass, and actually if you acknowledge them and possibly wrote them down in a gratitude journal, which is down here, it might just help move things along a little bit, so you can shift out of this energy a bit quicker if you so wish. You know, you don't have to. So yeah, you freed yourself, and Spirit wants you to understand that you don't need to chase anything, okay, ever. You know, it's already yours. It's just about getting into alignment, and that doesn't mean you then force yourself because you're feeling like you're going through a bit of a wobble or a dip, and you're sort of like, oh, I must make myself feel better right now, I need to get into alignment right now. You have to be gentle with yourself, you know, and you know, write things out, maybe do this gratitude journal, acknowledge all the angel numbers you saw today, all the little signs that you got and so forth, and it will move you gently. But I do think it's very possible that you're in this wobble because you moved on and you freed yourself from energies that are still in your energy field, okay? And it takes some time to get back into full alignment. Praying is out here, so that's another suggestion. Again, you don't have to take it, and Spirit wants you to know that you're gifted, okay, and you are getting back into alignment. If I am tapping into you right now and you do feel slightly out of alignment, which is normal, it happens, you know. And just another note that the angels moved you from this. They help free you from these energies that were, I mean, mind control sounds a bit harsh, and obviously that it's a general reading, so it can't go for everyone, but I think some kind of manipulation at the very least, and hopefully nothing as severe as what I can feel at times. Right, so okay, so of course you've got another energy in your energy field. This is possibly why you're wobbling. Oh, where should I go actually? I'll go with this energy since I was there, but I've got a bit more up here, but that's okay. So this energy you've left behind, it could very well have been a love interest, but you might have left a few things behind. This person or people, put it where it fits, it could be both, is now recognizing how smart you are. I think, unfortunately, the energies you had in your energy field, because you were putting up with this manipulation or them playing games, mind games, just taking the PISS is what I feel. they thought you weren't as clever as you are, but now you've freed yourself, and you know, you stopped looking after them. They're seeing you in a different light, and I don't think it's a case they ever thought that you weren't clever. I think they knew you were clever, but I think maybe in some ways, because you had such strong love for them, you let lots of things slide, and they were sort of, even if it's unconscious, they felt like you're not as smart as they are, or something, in specific ways, you know, like, you know, with this mental manipulation stuff. But now what's happening is this person or people, put it where it fits. It does feel a bit romantic, but again, if spirit brought you here, just put it where it fits. They're actually embarrassed now that they now know that you see them. So not only do they recognize that you're clever, possibly they see you smarter than them, they actually are a bit embarrassed, because I think they may have been acting out thinking, well, she doesn't even know her worth, she doesn't even know what I'm doing, and you did know what they were doing. You just let it play out, and in some ways, maybe I'm sort of being brought to the angels and spirit, maybe they sort of veiled you a little bit, so they could learn this lesson the hard way, because they needed to learn this lesson, that just because somebody's kind or giving or understanding, it doesn't mean that they're not smart, or it doesn't mean that that God isn't working with them, or something like that. Anyway, now that this person or people embarrassed and recognized whatever they were trying to get away with, they didn't. You know, that you just allowed it to happen, or spirit was allowing it to happen. They're not only embarrassed, they actually sort of see themselves as a bit of an idiot, and don't really understand what you saw in them in the first place. And when I said that, I also felt like maybe sometimes you wonder what you saw in the first place. But Spirit wants you to know that this person or people love you so much, and actually their love for you is stronger now than ever. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that you freed yourself. They can see that you're gifted now. They can see how smart you were. They can see what you were putting up with in the name of love. And the energy I'm feeling is like they're yearning for you. Okay, they're really yearning for you. Spirit wants you to know that you're going to be meeting somebody important soon. And I've also got out here to take yourself on a date, but I do feel like maybe somebody will be taking you on a date, or, I mean, it doesn't have to be romantic, you know, you could go on a date with a friend, you know, but I have to go where I initially felt. It did feel like it could be romantic, but do take yourself on a date. If there's something that you've been wanting to do, you don't need to wait for somebody else to go and visit that, or do that, or even eat at a place. You know, it's quite brave to go and eat on your own, but it'll only make you stronger. And, you know, once you've done it, you might be more than happy to do it again. Okay, so, but obviously you don't need to push yourself. If you're just like, I don't know about that. I'm not sure why it's coming out. Spirit wants you to know, and this is where I felt the nudge earlier. Not only are you going to gain more results, and the result card is here, from doing a gratitude journal. And I know, you know, you could easily be sort of like, oh, I don't want to, like, honestly, do 30 seconds and just build on your phone, anything, even in your head, if you just really, you're in this wobble at the moment and it's hard to shift that energy. And prayer, the same. You don't have to get down on your knees, and, you know, but if you so wish, you can. But again, it can be something in your head, it can be when you're walking, and it could even be when you're looking at the moon. And when I got this, when I pulled this card out, it made me feel like I should be telling you that you could do with working with the moon, particularly a full moon, or gaze at the moon. And then when I thought, when I was pulling these out, and I thought that this came out, and it's communication, and it says talk to the moon. Okay, so obviously these are suggestions, and if you're just like, oh, you know, that just doesn't chime for me, let it go. And you never know, 6 years time, you know, a seed could be planted, and, you know, you're there loving the moon. but I have to go where my angels and ancestors and spirit team tell me to go, and of course you need to do what you feel. Yeah, so, and or we can make moon water, and you know that you can that can be helpful. Put it in your bath, use it as sort of like a holy water. Yeah, so that's out here. Spirit wants you to remind you that you are stepping into good health. So even though you're wobbling a little bit, I'm hearing your mental health is actually improving, but it may, I don't know, you might feel a bit more exhausted because you're going through a wobble, or yeah, or you know, the lens of what you're seeing through it's not the full picture. It might be a bit zoned in is the feeling, rather than it's sort of like the expansive view. But you know, just take that where that fits. But not only that, the person that you're going to meet soon has good mental health. They're going to help your mental health. I think you've been around energies like this who are trying to manipulate you and think, oh my god, this, you know, like, I don't even want to say it, but it's like, she's so naive, you know, like, I can just say this and that, or do this and that, and she just accepts it. Or, and the energy isn't great, what I'm feeling. But this person that's coming through is not going to be like that. They don't need to do that. They're healed. They have no desire to use the other to regulate themselves or feel better than someone or anything like that. So you know, that's good to know. It's good to know that, you know, you're going to be meeting people that are in alignment with you. This person down here, twin flame, high level soulmates, and again, just put it where it fits. If it's not romantic, as usual, they're thinking high level commitment with you. So when I pulled that deck, it's engagement card. When I pulled that deck, it's only you. But even though this is where their mind is, because now they've recognized how smart you are, you know, you were never naive the way they thought you were because you loved them so much. And this is sort of just what's ruminating in their heads, because they want to talk to you, but they don't know what to say. And I think it's because there's such a jump going on. So they have extreme love for you, but they're I don't know, I feel like quite cowardly energy, really. And I think it might be stemming from the fact they're embarrassed. Now they're embarrassed that you did see them all along. You were just, dare I say, putting up with it. Or spirit was letting you hang around longer than you should have done so they could learn this lesson the hard way, so they really learn it. But yeah, this is the kind of energy that's on their mind, and it does come out often. And maybe I'm being brought to here, maybe they sort of think about it so often it's becoming a bit hypnotic to them, and it might be spirit's way of sort of getting them back for playing games with you. So now what's on their mind is sort of this heavy level of commitment. They feel embarrassed, they feel like an idiot, you know, like being seen the way that you've probably seen them. But then they're sort of plagued with this sort of high level commitment that they're too embarrassed or cowardly to even approach you or, you know, instigate something like that with you. So it might be part of their karma, but they definitely do want to communicate. But I'm also being brought here, and I sort of noticed it. I only noticed it again now, which obviously is the way spirit works, is that you don't owe them anything. So if you're sort of like, well, that's not what I want. Yeah, exactly. Because you're making the healthy choices. You want to meet somebody like this who's got good mental health, and they're not going to impact your mental health. I have a feeling like this person did. Only you again, a different deck. Yeah, so this person is devoted to you. That's maybe why you're wobbling so much, like it's coming through so much the last few days. Because if it's a twin flame or high level soulmate, you are connected. There's a cord. Yeah, and I think it might be impacting your gratitude. I just feel like something's narrowed in a little bit. And the gratitude is upside down here, and we've got gratitude journal upright. So maybe because this energy is on a slightly lower frequency, they've got more healing to do. It's sort of taking you slightly out of balance. You know, it doesn't have to be major. And you're not recognizing the signs and the angel numbers, and listening to the gratitude as much. I'm not saying it's, you know, devoid of it, and you know, it's not about judging yourself, but gratitude will keep you in better alignment. But do when you feel, you know, like I don't want it to be like school and telling you what to do, because that's not the energy either. But you've definitely made the healthier choice. You know, you don't owe this person anything, even though they want a lot from you. I heard your life, so yeah. You know, and I'm being brought here. You freed yourself. That was the healthy choice, and you are in better health, and you're going to be meeting healthier people. And again, that doesn't have to always be mental health. It might just be spiritual hygiene, you know, like they're spiritually more healthy. They don't play games. Yeah, this person hasn't got any inner peace, so they're coming to you without any inner peace, and they're thinking serious level of commitment. Like they don't see it, like only you twice from different decks, engagement card out. I'm not surprised I'm seeing the wobble card come out a couple of times, and the fact it says here, I need you to help me. Like I think they're really struggling with this energy. I love you so much. My love for you's stronger than ever, because maybe before they thought you were too naive, but you weren't. You just loved them. But now you freed yourself. They can see themselves and you with the kind of clarity that I think it's knocked them over, and that's maybe why you feel a little bit knocked, or a little bit wobbly, or a little bit, things are a bit slower. But yeah, you became diligent. You chose self-love, is popping out here. And signs is there. I think this person's getting a lot of signs. So and I'm being brought back to that hypnosis, which wasn't the original feeling I got from that. But I do feel like if they were playing mind games with you and all of that kind of thing, it's like their mind is doing something to them now, because they can't get you off your mind. They see everything's reminding them of you now that you've freed yourself, now that you chose yourself, now that you become diligent. I'm not saying that you were never diligent, but you're practicing it. It's you starting to recognize you don't owe anyone anything. Maybe there was a time before you stepped into this healing energy, you didn't want to cause conflict for the other, you didn't want to hurt the other, you didn't or something like that. Whereas it's not a case of like you don't care anymore. You care about yourself more, and that comes first. And then, you know, if people are hurt by it, so be it. Whereas before, you possibly didn't have that energy, and you could be wobbling because that energy is new for you. You're sort of like, oh, like it's not a case of not caring for the other, but it's just caring for yourself the most first. And I don't know if you were really truly doing that. Yeah, so this person wants to confess all of this to you, okay, and without their mask. So they were masking themselves up hard, heavy, playing games with you, and they want to do the right thing, and you know it does. And I just sort of want to be more than friends. So I don't know if they try to make you feel like they didn't want you and only you, and okay, so we've got 2 believe cards out here. Yeah, so this person feels like they've had enough healing, like they know what they want and who they want, and it's you. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's how they're feeling. We'll see how the spread unfolds. Yeah, so maybe with this gratitude out here and the moon, and speak to the moon, prayer, tapping into the fact that you're gifted, God made you, healing. Maybe it's time to start believing you can have what you want, because we did have here, didn't we? You don't need to chase what is already yours. So maybe getting into that energy, maybe doing some hypnosis about this, you know, like to get yourself in that energy where you believe you can have what you want, whatever that may be. I think maybe because you've been in such an emotional storm with people playing mind games, or some ego sort of weird energy, it pulled you out of this a little bit, because you're born with this, you know everything's matter, and you can make it come to you before you even learn words. You know this, and as time goes on, of course, people beat it out of you, hopefully not literally. Yeah, Yeah, so this person's made their decision. They only want you. That's the result they want. And it might be a result that you want, but the fact that we've got you don't owe them anything out here, and time is coming up again. Yeah, I think you're resistant at the very least if when they are brave enough to come through and communicate. I think you'd be worried about your alignment, because I think the fact that they're sort of getting closer in an energetic way, you can already feel your alignment wobbling a little bit, and it's because their energy's denser. I know I say lower sometimes or darker, but it's denser. Your energy's lighter. Yeah, they don't want to be a narcissist anymore. I know narcissists are thrown around all the time, and it doesn't always have to, not every single person that's upset you is a narcissist, but it's just low empathy and poor impulse control, essentially. And I'm sure this person definitely exhibited those sorts of energies with you, and they don't want to anymore. Anything else, Spirit, for the highest good of all? Yeah, you're choosing to nourish yourself. So we've got nourish out here, healing, self-love, healthy choices, diligence, and that was part of your healthy choice, to become more diligent, not choose love of the other, especially when they're in that sort of manipulative energy. That was part of it. But I do think, yeah, look, ego upside down as well. Their ego's dying. We need an ego, but they probably had an inflated one. And ultimately, an inflated ego is because somewhere inside, they don't feel good enough anyway. Like, I know it shows out different than that. But yeah, I'm being brought to the fact that they find you very interesting, and I'm being brought, they want to take you on a date as well, as it's someone new. Or maybe this person that comes through will feel like a new person because they're ascending. But the energy, I honestly feel like that wobble energy is because their energy is denser, but yeah, they're shattered. Proposal, engagement ring. Yeah, this is all bottled up in them. I feel like they have to come through, because their egos, you've broke their ego, you've dismantled it, because they didn't know that you were strong enough to free yourself. They thought you were naive, and that naivety made them feel like they had a nice soft warm bed in your life, and you got rid of the bed. You're like, I don't need it, I've got another one. I've got a bed here with Spirit and God, like, or something of that. Yeah, they don't want time to be up. Tell me why that card's upside down, please, Spirit. Love. Tell me more about those cards. I think they want to another love card. They want to get out of this energy of where it's all bottled up, where things are reminding them of you. They want you there, so it's not things reminding them of you anymore. They know they mess things up, but they want to rectify it. They want to redeem themselves somehow. And I think they're using a lot of manifestation work. Like, they're believing that you're going to say yes. Maybe that's why you're wobbling. Like, this person, I think, is they may not be as spiritual as you, but they use cosmic ordering or something like this, and they're obsessed about it. So I mean, that's not so easy for you if you've got a bond with them. Yeah, so you're definitely separated from this person, which is causing the conflict. I think they're shocked by it all. They're shocked that you freed yourself. They're shocked that you're cleverer than they thought you were. They're shocked that their ego was dismantled. They're shocked that they felt hopeless without you. They're shocked that they're seeing themselves as a potentially, like, feeling embarrassed or an idiot, which is what broke their ego. They're shocked how much they want you and only you, like nothing else will do. And it's all because you started to nourish yourself, getting to choose yourself. Yeah, they want to come out of this stress. They're fed up of being in this frozen, bottled up energy. I'll take one more card from this deck, please, Spirit, and I'll move on. Yeah, so look, it says, we both know that I'm not the one for you, upside down. Coffin, upside down. So they're saying they do believe that you are for each other and it's not over. This is their energy, so, you know, it's up to you. I'm obsessed with you. We saw the obsession card earlier. So if you've been feeling a bit wobbly, this is why. I love your intelligence, and the smart card came out earlier. Now they're seeing you. Now they're seeing you. And again, it doesn't mean you have to be like highly academic. You could be, maybe you're quick-witted. It could be, you know, intelligence comes in all forms. I've never felt this strongly about anyone before. That's why you've got 2 proposal cards out here. Love. Their ego's broken, and they're having, it feels a bit like an awakening, to be honest. Yeah, I'm regretting my previous actions. That's why all that ego, narcissistic energy is upside down. And all those love cards that came out earlier, this is heavy. That's so funny. That's so funny. So the card that comes upside down is the same one that came upside down yesterday, which is your independence is so sexy. And I think this is to do with the fact they want to marry you, so you're not independent in that way anymore. Do you see what I mean? Yeah, you can be independent, but be careful, because the energy I'm feeling, it's like they want you to belong to them, which isn't what marriage and all of those things are about. So yeah, I don't think you're emotionally available for this person anymore. Yeah, this person wants to do better. Like, it says, I'm sorry, you deserve better, but it came sideways. And I think it's because they want to do better for you. Yeah. Just be mindful, just because they're feeling all this love. I mean, I do think you're not emotionally available. I don't think you're in the picture. Like, I think you freed yourself, and at the very least, you've got some high walls up, you know, like, even if you were sitting right next to them. But this person, just because their ego's broken down and you're the only one that they think about, make the healthy choice. You don't owe them anything. They could still well be in the same groove if they're not really emotionally available for you. Yes, you might have a ring on your finger. Yes, you might, do you know what I mean? But the room's empty. Do you know what I mean? Something of that. Of course you'd recognize that, but just, or for yourself, maybe you'll be the one that feels empty around them, because you've healed since this. Maybe what they did wasn't particularly forgivable for you right now, at least. Yeah, so they look at pictures of you on their phone, which I'm sure, yeah, they don't like the attention you get. That's why they don't like that independence card. That, you know, that came upside, it's the only one that came upside down, and yesterday. And that's the bit that bothers them. I'll go to the tarot. Messages for the collective, please, Spirit. For the highest good of all. Let's see what's there. Yeah, you're victorious. That was your justice. You know what I think's funny here is, you know, when you're in this energy with them, where you were forgiving, I'm seeing patience here, far too patient, far too flexible. Not to have a go at you, but, you know, your love was big for them. And I'm not saying it's not anymore, but it's balanced now. And that was justice for you to give that love to yourself. Now that you've been, what was happening, though, is the hangman is here, and that's their energy now, because now they feel all of this, that they have to go into soul searching, the ego has to break down and so forth. But what I'm also getting from that hangman is, I don't know if you know the game Hangman, and you've got to guess how, you know, what the word is, and each time you get the wrong letter, you draw a hangman, and eventually the man's hung, and then you don't get to guess any more letters. I feel like something like that was happening. So you let them get away with this, that, this, that, this, that, this, that, and then the game was over, and they didn't know that's what was going on, because, you know, it was maybe a really long word, you know, it had 15, 16 letters. I don't even know there is a word that long, but, and they were like, well, you know, I could just keep doing this, I can just keep doing this, gosh, you know, she's really naive, I don't, who would let anyone do this? And then they were hung out to dry, gone, freed yourself, spirit freed you. And that was justice, for you to find your peace without them, give your cup of love to yourself, and actually be more than happy not to really think about them at all, and choose your healing. And actually, when you do think about them, you think about the pain that they caused. That's your biggest memory of them. Hopefully you don't sit in there and you just, you know, get consumed with that pain. You know, do your best to move it around with what, you know, some of the suggestions that Spirit's given us before there. But gratitude is one of them. And now you're manifesting a new reality. Yes, it might be a bit wobbly, especially if you've got this in your energy. But I also want to say that this person, not only are you manifesting your future, this person is manifesting this future with you. So they're kind of opposing things, which would be the reason why you're wobbling. Okay, and especially if this person, if you're sort of manifesting like freedom and spiritual growth and things like that, and they've got different ideas, they kind of juxtapose, and I think that's what might be going on. But yeah, this person's falling apart. But again, I'm brought here, you don't owe them anything. Okay, they put you in the Ten of Swords. It doesn't get more painful. But you found, not you found yourself, you always had yourself, but you started, I think, I wouldn't be surprised you started recognizing, you know, what this person was doing, you know, like taking the PISS, and where else other people were doing it, and you've had a sort of rebirth, and you've flown away from all of this. Not that we've got the butterfly out here, but you freed yourself, which would imply to me sort of butterfly energy. But they definitely want to communicate with you. 2 communication cards here. And if you ever doubted if this person was attracted to you, yes, they are. They always were. They just didn't want to do the work. But their ego's been dismantled anyway, just because you freed yourself. But, you know, cover yourself in white light. Do your gratitude journal. Like, again, you don't have to do these things, but think about the synchronicities. Maybe do a believe, like a some kind of hypnosis to help you believe whatever dreams it is that you want. You know, to help you. But again, you don't have to. Should I leave that there? Yeah, but this person definitely doesn't want this to be over. Yeah, because maybe this person used to try to pretend that they didn't have emotions, but now they're trapped in wanting you and only you. And that's, yes, that's where they are. Okay, maybe there was once a time that you were in this energy, but you're not heartbroken. It's upside down for you, and you probably see this person as a bit of a clown. And maybe, you know, yeah, they don't want it to be the past, but I do think you do see this in your past. But it's a general reading, so put it where it fits. But thank you for being here so much. Thank you for being here. Archangel Michael, please be with me and the collective. Please bless us. Please protect us. So mote it be.